you've been doing this everyday video, whether that's social, political commentary, for how long now? 4-5 years?
6 years.
6 years every day.
6 years, yeah.
Wow, you practically live on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you a stupid question. If you've done, what is 365 into 6? Like over 2,000 videos at this point, maybe.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If I gave you 3 things you could fix with second, third order consequences, it's not like I just erase this. Like there is a consequence to erasing something, right? Like there is, what would be 3 things you do so that India is on a different track?
I think the predominant thing that I would probably put across Indians is that, when it comes to India, do not have divisions when you have the idea of India, especially when you express it globally. I have had bad experiences about it also, because when you represent your country, the beauty about our country is we are very, very different. You and me, we are from the same country and we speak different languages. We are probably from...
We could have been as well from 2 different countries if this was not India.
Exactly.
Right? Like we could be European and you would be Eastern European, I'd be Western European, and we just, right.
I could be an African, you could be an European, and still the same differences would exist.
Exactly.
So that different we are. But we are in the same country. This diversity and still the unity. So when it comes to India, we both are...
I'd fight for you. I'd fight for you, bro.
Same.
Right.
So that, I think, should be embedded in Indians more than what it is now. I felt super bad when Qureshi ma'am got...
Sophia Qureshi.
Yeah.
The one doing press conferences during Operation Sindoor.
When she gets
targeted for being Muslim.
No, what she was called was sister of a terrorist.
Yeah, right.
I mean, what the fuck? It's something that's absolutely... And people who are saying this will never even... They would have never visited the border. I mean, that's the biggest problem. Yeah. And these people... calling names on the heroes of our country who are putting us globally, it's shameful, man. And same thing applies to the foreign minister too, Mistry, sir. So he was also called as a traitor because he announced the ceasefire. He announced the ceasefire.
Oh, yes.
Vikram Mishri, sir.
Vikram Mishri, yes.
So he was called a traitor. Right. I mean, you imagine this, they prepare for the toughest exam in the world, crack it, dedicate their life for the country for decades, and then they tell something that people in much higher power decide, and they tell it to the world.
That's the communicator of it.
Yeah, they're the communicator, and they get called a traitor. Seriously?
You dox Vikram Mishri's daughter. You start posting pictures of her online.
Did they do anything illegal? No, they did something different from what you believe in. That's all.
Right.
So when this happens, right, this idea of India, when we celebrate our diversity, I believe I can go back in time, in 1947 preferably, and fix in everyone's mind, bro, I understand we are very different. We love the diversity. We celebrate our country's culture. I see people in North India wish me for Pongal. I'm going to wish people in North India and across the country for Holi. Even though it's not a native festival for me. Pongal is not a native festival. We celebrate this diversity. If we are
energized by it.
Yeah,
I agree. 100%.
So if I can go back in time and fix in everyone's mind, bro, yes, this diversity exists, but when it comes to India, you're one. And put that face outside. Don't find divisions when it comes to India is something that I would love to go back in time and fix. And I think that would accelerate the whole country to a different level that we will not have any country to compare today in 2025 if we had did that in 1947.
I see the general point you're trying to make about unity, and I kind of agree, but this specific point you made about Operation Sindoor and how sort of the conversation around it happened is of much interest to me, and allow me to sort of make a few points. Tell me what you think. First of all, this war-hungry mob, after it had nowhere to go, and it felt like it had received an anti-climax. Because if you were honest enough and you asked around, hey, what do you think of the ceasefire? People were like, bro, garam karke chhod diya. Like, you know. And so there was a lot of this garam karke chhod diya crowd that was looking to attack somebody. And to attack a man who's facing the brunt of the world coming on media every day and attack him through his daughter, completely unacceptable. The fact that Sophia Qureshi was chosen by whoever chose her to represent us in the
minister.
Yes, I think
which is even
either
more
the defense minister or the EAM, right? One of them chose.
No, it's a state minister from Madhya Pradesh, if I can recall correctly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And to attack her for a religion and not just attack her, but to link her to the people who did the heinous act that started all of this, that brought us to the brink of some degree of nuclear war. To relate her, who's putting her face and her identity and her life on the line every day. And it's not just that. I have an observation I'm a little concerned about making. My observation is that we probably did a lot of kinetic damage, way more than the world media will report. But we really were on the back foot on the narrative end. And you and I were part of the narrative end. You were saying this in your language to your audience. I was saying this in English or Hindi to my audience, right? I think the big ones in our field betrayed us. The media is the reason, the mainstream media is the reason that we all lost the narrative battle. Because if on 8th May or 9th May overnight, you are going to get on our screens and scream, oh, we did this. Oh my God, we're...
Karachi was in ashes.
You are more ridiculous than Pakistani media. Do you understand the reputation you've lost? You are more ridiculous than a media that's probably state controlled and state run. A bunch of jokers who do entertainment for media. You're worse than them because you went into rumor mongering. And you know what? I was on Twitter the same day watching Indian news. Things would crack on Twitter. Somebody would just post randomly, we are in Karachi. And 3 seconds later, the news anchors would pick it up and start screaming. So your source that day was a bunch of anonymous accounts on Twitter. And you think it is just TRP maxing. No, you are diluting the country's credibility for TRP maxing that day. You chose to dilute my nation's global credibility for TRP maxing, for advertiser money that day. And you are the people who will then come on later when an Elvish Yadav will make a mistake, or a Samay Raina will make a mistake, or a Ranveer Alabadia will make a mistake. You will come on screen, be like, these boys just want views, and they will say anything for views. And you are any different? You sold the honor of my country for views. You are telling me we are at fault? Us 20-year-olds who are trying to build our bones, who are trying to understand how to represent this country globally, you are telling me we are at fault? Oh my God. This comedian had a tweet. I don't know how much trouble I'm going to get into for saying it. But she said, if comics can be tried for jokes, can newsmen not be tried for the same vulgarity of jokes that they perform? Bro, I got N number of phone calls that day. I don't know if you did. Girls largely freaking out. I am having an anxiety attack. Is everything going to be okay? You know why? Because these idiots were screaming on the screen. Is that not offensive to public morality? I'm asking you. I'm sorry. I've been full of this. I wanted to say it somewhere. I'm asking you. What do you think? You think that's fair?
Absolutely not fair, bro. But there's a larger game here that I think a lot of us miss. There is a reason why media is doing this. Because it's completely different from different point of view. But then think about why media is doing this today. This was not happening before 10 years. This was not happening before 20 years for sure. Right now, someone in media is competing with an influencer, to get the same news to people. So when we talk about us, an influencer is going to have a worst case scenario. We are going to, if you have to make an immediate content, we'll need to us maximum, as in good quality. You shoot, you do a basic editing, proof check, upload. That's the timeline. A media channel is trying to beat this 2 hours timeline, and they're not supposed to actually, because we are not journalists. We are people who ethically try to live by. We get judged by people directly. We don't have any as much as legislature or laws. The point I'm trying to make is rules, like a media channel. A media channel is licensed. They have a bunch of regulations to follow. They have studied journalism. So when they come from that point of view, they are not supposed to compete with influencers who are opinionated. We are going to put our opinion. We are not journalists.
In that way. Yes, right.
We are editorial. And that's purely our opinion. We could go wrong. We could be right. Yeah. That's our opinion. And people are going to judge it. So end of the day, our judgment is absolutely from democracy, where people are going to say yes to us or no to us. It comes down to people. So that's a different story. The problem starts happening when media people try to compete with influencers, because this to us is the time within which they have to break something so that they get higher views than an influencer. It's all coming down to same YouTube views today. Same social media clutter today.
Right.
So when they do that, they don't have time to do enough proof checks.
But do they realize that the fact that no international independent agency, I'm not even speaking of media, will ever take them seriously is because of this rumor mongering circus bullshit.
Yeah, that's a bigger problem.
I heard a lot of this, okay, and maybe I'm wrong about this. A lot of people saying we don't need the validation of white journalists, this, that. I'd be fine with it. I'm completely with you. But I can't ascertain anything using my local journalists because you've made a mockery. You've made a mockery of information. You've made a mockery of opinion. So I'm going to have to trust this third person, especially in a conflict like India-Pakistan, where if you ever by chance run this experiment of looking at what India is saying and Pakistan saying, they're saying the same word except India says Pakistan did this, Pakistan says India. India says Pakistan violated ceasefire. Pakistan says India violated ceasefire. In that moment, I can't trust the guy who's going to tell me anything because obviously he's full of shit. Then who am I going to go to? You've put us in this position and you better own up to it. And you better have that moral fiber the next time you're calling out a little boy for trying to make his life work. That's my complaint.
I think globally this idea of having someone who's going to tell only what has happened is vanished.
Yeah, it's dead. You're right.
I think from US to, our local cities to local newspaper, every newspaper has to survive.
Yeah.
Every media company has to survive. Every influencer has to survive. Everyone have to take a stand.
Right.
And the whole narrative is based on what we believe in.
Right.
Even look at US. Or look at a different country. For example, with Ukraine and Russia, right? Look at any Russian media, Russians are right. Look at any Ukrainian media, Ukrainians are right. And which is the one that will be told to the world? Whichever West wants to be told to the world.
Whichever America approves for it to be told.
The West, basically.
Yeah, right, sure.
So whichever they want. So when they decide this country has to be favored, they are going to put their narrative across the world.
That's hella smart.
Yeah, that has happened. So So before the podcast, I told you, right, bro, let's talk facts. This is how it is.
Right.
Let's face it. Like, why? It's not going to be fixed. Let's be realistic also, because everyone has to. So we have a president in the world's biggest country, most powerful country, who's saying, hey, let me, don't go to India because we need your company, Apple.
Yeah,
so
right.
We did all this so-and-so for you. Don't go from China to India. Come back to US. But the logic is, bro, you can't manufacture iPhone in America and sell it to an Indian. Right. But you're going to price it at 6 lakhs?
Right. No, he's putting pressure. That's what he's trying to do.
No, but the idea of a president talking this to media is already... So now he's pushing other leaders of the world also to get to that extreme to get into the limelight. If we have a leader who's very clear, who's very strong, and only talks to the point and does not get into all these, random talks, he is not going to be looked at. He's not going to be given enough time in the media as much as someone like Trump would be given. Think of this again across the world. Everywhere. You do bro, he tweeted himself as the Pope after Pope passed away.
Yeah. So he's a little bit of a cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. He's a little bit of a cartoon.
So now to beat him, the next American president, whoever is going to contest, will try to beat him through enough mockery.
Through more extreme. So he just pushes to more extreme.
More mockery. The
bar keeps shifting.
We are living in a very interesting time. The thing is, from Trump to even Zelensky, they were all influencers, basically. If you go back in time, they were all influencers.
Dude, that's so spot on. Zelensky was a comedian. Trump used to be the main character on Apprentice, the TV show.
He was there everywhere. He was in WWF.
He was in WWE, dude. That's a crazy clip. Hey, because the TV is up, I can't play it, but you got to play it. Dude, that scene is epic. When Vince McMahon and him go at it. I think Trump understands manufacturing media moments like nobody does. He has a very delicate sense for how to make something go viral.
Yeah.
And I think America as a whole has lost faith in career politicians. They don't want another Biden. They don't want another Barack. They just don't. They want this entertaining chap who's going to mess Washington up, who's going to clean the swamp or whatever he used to say. We have barely scratched the surface with this clip. If you want to know all the fun stuff that happened in this conversation, you've got to go to our main channel. Click now.